My name is Roopa Purushothaman, and I'm the founder of Avasara Leadership Institute. It's based in Pune, India. So we seek to accelerate both academic as well as leadership outcomes for adolescent girls across India. We have a few different strategies. We do scholarship programs, after-school programs, sort of like targeted camps. But I think the flagship intervention that we do is that we've built our own school. So in Pune, we have a mixed residential and a day school. We have about a little over 400 students and 100 alumni. And I think the big focus for us is to find girls largely from low-income backgrounds who show high potential, have them come to our school and get this really rigorous academic program, but also a curriculum that we've developed around leadership, entrepreneurship, Indian studies, and hopefully equipped with sort of both parallel curricula. We have students that will become sort of leaders in their communities, pursue really different types of work and jobs once they graduate from us and graduate from university, and become role models in their communities. And the big reason for this is that if we can create these role models across different communities, hopefully families will start thinking differently about things like early marriage and so on. So I think I think all of our students come into our school with this idea that marriage is looming after school. But there is a range. So we've had everything from a student at the age of 12 who joined us, who was already engaged to be married and, would have been married within a year or two. And Avasara was almost a way for her to say, I've gotten into the idea of getting into a school. Having that opportunity means hopefully I can delay that. And so in the beginning, she was just trying to delay that marriage as long as she could. Now she's gotten into university. I think her family sees how she, could get a job and so on. So she's changed her family's view, and that engagement has been broken. And also the community, her extended family and the community also think differently about, early marriage and the fact that pursuing university and jobs could be an option. And so I think for us, that's the big thing, right? That this idea of early marriage is looming across India, and it's a very high fence, but having some examples from a community where someone has been successful pursuing work and not pursuing early marriage, all of a sudden these barriers, they come down. I was born and raised in the U.S. I came to India, visited, and I, for whatever reasons, I visited a bunch of schools, and I just fell in love with this idea of wanting to build a school in India. So I think the seed was planted when I was very young. I became an economist in my career and started covering India. And you just can't avoid the fact that when you look at big topics in India, whether it's employment, health, safety, and you split it between genders, there's just vastly different outcomes for men and women, boys and girls. And so, I think the idea of building a school grew into how can we think about making a change in these kinds of outcomes through the idea of really focused, a really focused academic period during adolescence, when you're really thinking about who you're going to be in the world and creating these role models who can hopefully show that there's a different path, not just in pursuing jobs, but also in the way that they can pursue a host of different jobs. Because in India, things are changing. There are jobs that, I think break the mold in terms of thinking about whether girls can do them or not do them. So having role models in sort of careers that are not considered careers that women would normally do was something that was also really important. So I heard about Rising Tide, it was right around 2019, 2018, just through a colleague. I was introduced to someone at Rising Tide, to Isabel, and we spoke, and I talked about what we were doing at Avasara. And I just think that getting to know the philosophy of Rising Tide, and Rising Tide getting to know the motivation for building Avasara and what we were trying to do in terms of really changing outcomes for girls just seemed to match. And so Rising Tide provided scholarships for our students to be able to attend the school, which has obviously been huge, because we're able to, reach a wider audience of students that we can tap in terms of our admissions process. I think the upskilling obviously is through the education that we do. So we have most of our students come from government schools, from municipal schools. I think what we talked about with the leadership curriculum, this idea of agency, freedom, decision-making over your own life, responsibility to community, these are all big themes in the leadership curriculum, which again is very new in the Indian context to be talking about explicitly, especially with this age group. So that's why I think when we started talking to Rising Tide, it felt so natural, because these were the kinds of things that we were trying to do through our program. So we had a student join us in 7th grade. She was, as we all know, one of these kids in our lives, like super spark. She talks a mile a minute. You always see her on her tiptoes talking to everybody. And her father's an electrician, her mother's a homemaker. And so she had all of these ideas of things that she wanted to do, was super curious about everything. But she was engaged to be married early. She kind of felt like she needed to put those dreams aside. She joined Avasara, and, in the beginning, it was a big challenge for her because her grades plummeted since we're a different curricula. She has to commute 2 hours each way, which compared to all of her friends who were just going to school down the road seemed like a big sacrifice. She had many more commitments within the school, just the kinds of things that we do. But then she still had all of her home commitments, taking care of siblings, all of the chores around the house, and so on. So especially as her grades were falling, I think she had to fight every day for why she should still be in a school like this, and not go back to sort of the old patterns. But fast forward, she graduated from us. She got into sort of what is considered the top university in India on a full scholarship, which is really rare. Fast forward even further, and she's graduating from that college, and she got a job to work in a corporate foundation, and she's earning double what anyone in the community has ever earned before. And so, her parents think differently. Obviously, the question of marriage, isn't on the table because she's off to do this job. I think everyone, didn't even know there were jobs in corporate foundations, so that's a really new thing. Her extended family and the community all of a sudden think really differently, and now they're, everyone's saying we're going to send our daughters to school. So there's this really big change, and especially just achieving sort of a job, seeing that income could be earned, but also, the fact that she really wanted to give back to the community and really stay in the area of philanthropy and corporate foundations is also sort of like a big lesson to all of us in community. So I think that's that's a story that we're really excited about. I think we're going to grow. I think we want to get to our actual school being about 500 students. We want to reach more parts of India and be able to have students who stay with us in the residential program from all over the country. I think we want to really deepen our program. So there's a lot about this, like, let's say the curricula that we've developed. So there's 4 pillars to Avasara: the academics, the leadership curriculum. We're probably, I think, a leader in India in schools that really focus on social and emotional wellness. And we have 3 psychologists with us, and we have a really sort of deliberate program from one-on-one counseling to counseling classes. And then the 4th is college and career guidance, which again, for India is like a really new sort of, to have an explicit pillar around this is really new. And so I think these last 3, the leadership curriculum, social emotional wellness, and college and career counseling, a lot of schools are coming to us to see how they can do it. So I think where we want to scale is sharing, where it's our curriculum or just sharing our programmatic elements and lessons learned with other schools will sort of be the next step. We've had, I think, roughly 100 students graduate. I think being able to call on relationships that they built during adolescence will be a really important support for them going forward. So we're banking on that as well. Yeah, I mean, I think, for us, we want our students to be the kind of people that look around in the world, see areas that they want to affect change, and really believe that they can then do it. And so that is the part of the curriculum where we wanted to have sort of a hands-on approach to be able to say, if I see something that I think might be a good idea that can improve the world around me, then what do I do?